Anybody watch the Masters this weekend? Kind of an unusual turn of events. I feel really bad for Jordan Spieth. Well, our two guys today promise us an equally exciting event this August right here in Columbus, Ohio. Right, guys? Promise? Yes, thank you. All righty. I'm currently working as a captain on the U.S. Senior Open committee, and I've been so impressed with the work that HNS does putting on events. I mean, we all know about the numerous events that they do, but for instance, there are 2,000 volunteers that we're recruiting to pull off the Senior Open, and probably a similar number for the Memorial Tournament every year coming up soon. So we've asked two of the folks that are helping with the U.S. Senior Open, bringing it to Columbus, to come today and give us a talk. I'll introduce them here individually. Dan Sullivan is the executive director of the Memorial Tournament, which is an official event on the PGA Tour. He directs all financial, business, community, and operational aspects associated with the tournament. The Memorial Tournament continues its strong reputation as one of the most prestigious and well-regarded tournaments on the PGA Tour. Dan is also president and managing partner of the HNS Sports Group, which is a golf management company specializing in event and hospitality management, sponsorship, representation, and relationship counseling. Previously, he worked for the Jack Nicklaus family associated companies, Golden Bear, and Executive Sports International. Dan and I both went to Miami University together, and he got his bachelor's degree of Business of Science in Business Marketing. Ted Hines, sitting to his right, is the co-founder and partner of HNS Sports Group. Do you get the HNS, Hines, Nicklaus, Sullivan, HNS, playing the role of the Golden Bear. Ted possesses extensive tournament operations and project management experience, working in varying capacities on the PGA Tour, Champions Tour, LPGA Tour, and the Web.com Tour events. Ted is currently the championship director for the 2016 U.S. Senior Open, which is going to be held right here in Upper Arlington, Ohio at Scioto Country Club from August 8th to August 14th. Previously, Ted ran the Jack Nicklaus Mini Tour, the Golden Bear Tour in South Florida for the Golden Bear and Executive Sports International. He began his career working on Capitol Hill, however, for the House Majority Whip in the 104th and 105th Congress. Ted holds a Bachelor of Arts degree from Elon University. So help me welcome Ted Hines and Dan Sullivan to Columbus Rotary.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. I like the relationship counseling part of my bio. I do that on the side, usually at night. So Ted and I thought we'd go ahead and I'd open up, talk a little bit about HNS and what we try to contribute to the Columbus community. And then Ted will come up and talk specifically about what's going on with the U.S. Senior Open coming up here the week of August 8th. So as Mike said, HNS was created about 16 years ago. Actually came out of a separate company based here at Muirfield Village. And the goal with HNS is to be a industry leader across the entire country when it comes to event management and sponsorship representation. We have 25 staff members that focus on golf tournaments, whether they're the professional level that you know and love, like the Memorial Tournament, but as small as working on a charity event for Recreation Unlimited that is played every year at Muirfield Village. And we kind of span the gap across all of golf, corporate, charity, and professional, across the entire country. And frankly, do some stuff outside of the U.S. I just worked with the President's Cup in 2015 over in Korea. And so our organization is focused on putting on a golf tournament. Within Columbus, we really focus on trying to be a leader in bringing events that people want to be a part of. So we have two annual events, the Memorial Tournament and the Nationwide Children's Hospital Champion, which is a Web.com event of our Ohio State. Those two events I've obviously been a part of the community for a number of years, the Memorial 41 years, the Nationwide Championship 10 years. And when we focus on those two events, even though the Memorial is a much bigger event, they still have they both have the same attributes. We try to create an event that's going to be appealing to the general marketplace, something that people want to see. We try to create an environment where the players ultimately want to come and play. For the Memorial, we've been fortunate, obviously, to have Jack as the host and founder. So players want to come because of him. They want to come because of our golf course, of the date in which we play 2 weeks before the U.S. Open, the community that we play in. With the Nationwide Children's Hospital Championship, we focus on the golf course, and we focus on the fact that it's a playoff event now for the Web.com series. And so when we get the players excited about both those events, we know that the crowd and the golf fans within Central Ohio are going to come be a part of it. And we very much want to focus on the community and charity. So the Memorial Tournament's had a really long-standing relationship with Nationwide Children's Hospital. I think we've raised over $20 million for the institution, and we try to grow it every single year. This year we should eclipse 2.4 with Nationwide Children. So we're really proud of what we do, not only in the ability to give because of the success of the event, but the programs that we put on within the community. We don't just stop there with the Memorial Tournament. We have over 100 charities that we support in different form and fashion throughout the year, and it's very important for us to be a part of this community. I always try to put this note out here within all of professional golf. That's the PGA Tour, the LPGA Tour, the Champions Tour. The amount of money raised each year for charity eclipses the money raised within the 3 or 4 leading professional sports: football, basketball, baseball. Golf is based on giving back to the community and charity, and I think it's important that this group hears that, because we have a similar mindset with what you do on a daily basis and what you do annually to try to make lives better for other people. We do the same thing. We just do it in a different way. We try to create an atmosphere that's entertaining, that's supportive of the players, but also in the end of the day, supportive of the community. So the charity aspect is one, the entertainment aspect is the other, and then frankly, when we come down to what we try to put on television, if you try to pay attention to what we do each year with the Memorial Tournament, and if you're watching the Web.com on Golf Channel, we're always trying to put Columbus in the forefront. We always try to lead and have the broadcasters lead with little information and fun facts about the area. We think it's important for us to be a contributor to the economic viability of the city. We also think it's important for us to deliver a constructive, positive message through the broadcast. And the good news is we have great partners with CBS and Golf Channel that are willing and able to do that on a weekly basis. They not just do it for us, but they do it across the entire PGA Tour and Web.com Tour. They take time to make sure that they recognize the communities in which these tournaments are, because without it, we wouldn't have the ability to attract the sponsorship. We wouldn't have the ability to attract the individual interest that we have in these tournaments. One quick note on the Memorial Tournament. If you saw in December, we made an announcement with Nationwide where they extended their contract by 5 years through 2021. That was a lot of work over a lot of years to get to that point. And the reason why it was so much work in so many years this time is because we're really working on trying to create the legacy tenets in place so that when Jack is no longer with us, when Jack Nicklaus is no longer with us, that we have a tournament that will live on in his image and likeness and his thoughts. So we really worked with Nationwide hard to come up with a plan. And this year you'll see a purse that went from $6.2 million to $8.5 this year. You'll see more broadcast time being dedicated to the Memorial from a promotional standpoint. So there'll be more conversation about it when we get into May. We'll have an hour-long special about the Memorial on CBS the week before. We'll give the winner of the tournament an exemption, an extra year of exemption from 2 to 3 years that doesn't exist on the rest of the tour. We secured our date being 2 weeks before the U.S. Open. And that's all done for a reason. There are certain aspects of a golf tournament that you have to have right in order to elevate and grow. And we know that Jack has helped us for 41 years get there, and he's going to be with us for years to come. We know that. But at some point, he'll leave us, and we'll have this golf tournament to be able to reflect what he's contributed not only to the game of golf, but also to Central Ohio. Nationwide believes in that with us. Nationwide Children's Hospital believes in that with us, and so does the PGA Tour. So we've really worked hard to get the Memorial in the right place for the future and have a lot of growth opportunity. So with that, what I'm going to do is hand it over to Ted Hines. Now, so within HNS, what we try to do within Columbus is every once in a while come up with a new event. So years ago, we had the Solheim Cup in 1998, and that was the ladies' version of the Ryder Cup. That led to a 10-year run with a LPGA event that we had at New Albany and Tartan Fields. that golf tournament kind of ran its course, and we evolved out of that into the Web.com event that we have at Ohio State. Along the way, we had the President's Cup in 2013 at Muirfield Village. We operated that on behalf of the PGA Tour and represented that on behalf of Jack. And this is our next iteration. This is our next version, the 2016 U.S. Senior Open. We're going to execute it flawlessly at Scioto. It's celebrating their 100th year. But then in the future, we'll think about other events. Maybe a President's Cup coming back. Maybe a Senior Open again. Maybe a Solheim Cup again. Maybe a U.S. Amateur. We're always trying to think of what's next, 5 or 10 years ahead, because we know the Columbus community is extremely strong when it comes to supporting events. The President's Cup in 2013 was deemed by the PGA Tour to be the most successful they've ever had in the history of the President's Cup. It had a 20-year run to that point. We expect the same thing out of the U.S. Senior Open coming up here in August. So with that, I'll hand it over to Ted, and then we'll take a few minutes at the end to answer a few questions. Thanks.
First of all, thank you very much. Thanks for having Dan and I here today. It's a privilege to speak here. I'm going to start you right off the bat with a video. So this is a brand new video. It's actually, we only had it for about a week. And Scott, whenever...
We look forward to welcoming the USGA and the U.S. Senior Open to Scioto Country Club this August. Hosting the championship in a place I grew up playing the game means a lot to me. Starting with the 1926 U.S. Open and Bobby Jones, Scioto has hosted many great events and players over the past 100 years. It's going to be an incredible week of championship golf for Scioto, the USGA, and the players, and all of Central Ohio. I'm looking forward to being there with you during the week of August 8th.
Spoken from a true legend himself. This August, Scioto Country Club will add a new chapter to its heritage as only one of the 4 U.S. clubs to host 5 major championships. The U.S. Senior Open Championship is the most prestigious senior golf tournament in the world, serving as our country's national championship for players 50 and over, boasting the largest purse, and hosting an international field. History will be made at Scioto Country Club, not to be missed. Over 100,000 spectators are expected to converge upon Upper Arlington throughout the championship week to watch champions of the game like Fred Couples, Bernard Langer, John Daly, Colin Montgomery, and Tom Watson for the historic Francis D. Wilmette Trophy over 4 days of play. 2,000 volunteers will make an incredible impact to ensure a remarkable week. And the championship will feature 18 hours of live television coverage on Fox, with international broadcast distribution to over 100 countries. Needless to say, Columbus will again be put on the sports map at historic Scioto Country Club. It takes everything to be legendary. See the players, the course, and major championship history at the U.S. Senior Open this August 8th through the 14th.
All right, hopefully everyone is pumped up for the U.S. Senior Open coming to Columbus. So want to go over a few things today. Make sure I get my clicker. I'm going to go over not only the background and some facts of the U.S. Senior Open, but when Mike Schettinger asked Dan and I to come here, he actually, I thought it was a great idea. We kind of talked about it. I'm going to dig a little bit into really the behind the scenes of what it takes to run a major event and actually get into a little bit of the golf operations. So first off, overview. I'm going to go through the event facts, like I said, and why it's coming back to Scioto Country Club. If you remember, it was in 1986, 30 years ago. It was there as well. U.S. Senior Open, facts and figures. It's the largest purse any senior event. It's $3.75 million. To give you a scale, the PGA Tour has a senior tour. They just call it the Champions Tour. The average purse on the Champions Tour is about $1.8 million. So this is a huge purse. Huge field too. Typical golf tournament's about 144 players. The Memorial tournament's actually relatively small, bounces back and forth. I think it's about 125 right now. This is 156 players. So this is a large field. It's a mix between professionals and amateurs. The professionals have some exemptions. The amateurs can qualify. You have to be at the age of 50 and older. The Honorary chairperson, it's very fitting, but it's Jack Nicholas. So Jack will be here, which is great. Television broadcast. So Fox Sports is going to televise the U.S. Senior Open, and they are going to give us actually 18 hours of televised coverage, which is huge. We are going to see on the broadcast team Joe Buck, Paul Azinger, Curtis Strange. You've probably heard those names before. And the first 2 rounds, Thursday and Friday, is actually going to be covered by Fox Sports 1, and then switch over to Fox Sports on Saturday and Sunday. So why is it coming back to Scioto? So about 5 years ago, Scioto actually approached us, and they were thinking about what to do for their centennial. They're turning 100 this year, 2016. So they have a huge history of really rich, deep history of championships, like Jack said, going back to 1926, where Bobby Jones won the U.S. Open. So they decided on a couple of different options of bringing a tournament to Scioto, and they landed up on having the U.S. Senior Open back. If you might have seen these numbers before. Besides the 1926 U.S. Open, they had a Ryder Cup there in 1931, where the U.S. team won. 1950, a PGA Championship. 1968, a U.S. Am, and then some of you might have even remembered or attended the 1986 U.S. Senior Open. That was the 7th. So this year, it's coming back. It's going to be the 37th U.S. Senior Open. Here's some photos. Bobby Jones to the left at the 1926. The bottom right is actually him receiving the championship trophy. And upper right is the U.S. team, 1931. So behind the scenes is, besides a strong field and a competitive purse and support from the host club, a couple of the key components is sales, manpower, and what we mean by manpower is volunteers. I think Mike mentioned it. We're expected to have about 1,800 to 2,000 volunteers. You cannot run a golf tournament at any level, at any tour, without volunteers. They're very important. Operations or logistics, we call golf operations. So sales. So it's funny how ticket sales is very important, but I think that's what most of you usually think of sales. Everyone comes up to me and just says, first and only question, how are ticket sales? So ticket sales are important, but hospitality sales is a huge part of a tournament, making it successful. For an annual tournament like the Memorial Tournament, we start selling. I think I have here one day after the tournament, but actually our sales director is actually going to the clients in the hospitality venues and actually talking to them about contract for the next year. I mean, it's a constant thing. Hospitality sales for the U.S. Senior Opens actually started years ago. About, I think, 3 years ago was our first sale. So we're on track on both, and actually, ironically, which has been the largest ticket sale day, one day for the Memorial Tournament, and hopefully is for the U.S. Senior Open as well, is actually today. So it's the Monday after the Masters. Every year there's like a big surge. So hopefully it'll be interesting tonight to take a look at the sales charts. So here's some pictures, an example of, I think a lot of you have been out to the Memorial Tournament, has been to some kind of tournament where there is some hospitality. Have you at least seen the venues on either the inside or the outside? There's top one's 14 at Muirfield actually, and the bottom is 16 at Muirfield. So getting back to the volunteers, manpower behind the event. So we have an organizational structure that we established to ensure clear roles, responsibilities, and accountability. So like Mike Schettinger mentioned, he's actually one of our captains. So we kind of have it's almost like setting up a corporation. So we have a few levels. We have 10 vice chairs, and we constantly meet with the vice chairs. Here we go. And then underneath every chairperson, we have committees, and we divide them out. And there's 34 committees in total. And then every committee has at least a captain, usually a co-captain, and a director. This is actually a picture of one of our staffers at our, believe it or not, just getting credentials and uniforms to 2,000 people. It was actually, we actually had an event just for that. We almost needed volunteers for our volunteer event party. Operations and logistics. So we have, where does everything go on a golf course? How do 20,000 people get around? How do we get them onto a course? How do we get them off of a course? What happens when there's bad weather, when there's lightning in the area? What happens when a woman goes into premature labor? I'll get back to that in a minute. How we address these. So the build is, we consist of anything we're actually physically building on the course. So this consists of hospitality tents, the perimeter fence, the grandstands, which are the bleachers, the TV compound, and then the timeline for all these. These have to come in a very specific order. The patron flow is always a concern. That's not just admissions, but the actual security admissions, the different layers of volunteers, and not just get your tickets scanned, but actually check all your bags, getting everyone in quickly without lines. Parking and busing. Where are we going to park the players? Where are we going to park the caddies? Where are we going to put our hospitality? Where are we going to put members? Where are we going to put the USGA or the PGA Tour? Where are we putting rules officials? Where are we putting public? What's the minimum amount of spots do we need for public? And where can we find that that's not on grass? Roping and staking plans. So when you watch a tournament, you go out and see when you watch it on TV, you just notice the gallery ropes. That's actually takes a little bit of thought process. I've done it hundreds of times, a little bit of thought process. It changes obviously per course. So when you're doing it, you have to think, where do we want these patrons? Where do we want spectators to go? Do we not want them to go around a certain tee? Do we not want them around a certain green? Do we want them to kind of dive and dump into where the concessions are or where the restrooms are placed? This is all something that you have to constantly think of. We have to cross them over a few fairways. Evacuation plan. So evacuation plan is, if you've ever been on a golf course and weather comes in, we work with the tour, in this case the USGA's meteorologist. We have to get a large number of players, sometimes a full course, off the golf course at the exact same time, quickly and safely, and bring them back. Not only that, we have to get those players back onto the course afterwards. And if to practice, we have to get them back on the course, and we do that the same way. And how do we get them in position where everyone starts at the same time, so in case TV has to go back on air? So you have to be prepared for everything. And what I mean by that is, during a week of the tournament, we have our operations team has radios. We communicate with everybody. We communicate with the police. We communicate with EMS. We communicate with all the volunteers. We have control over everyone. Our channels of different radios communicating with people. We deal with hospitality issues. During the President Cup, just to give you an idea, usually when a huge storm hits is usually when your radio really we call it blow up, explodes. Just you get so many different radio calls. And when I mean you get different radio calls, you never know what you're going to get. So at one time during a storm, we got a generator was down at a hospitality venue. That means you have no power. A certain tent was leaking. There was a line that started at the bus depot, which usually happens when there's rain. There was a certain place that was out of cocktail napkins. The volunteer tent was out of donuts, and someone called in that they think they're with a woman who's in premature labor. So you have to clearly prioritize and learn how to prioritize quickly. This is our map. So this is our operational map. I wanted to share this because I think this is pretty cool. So this is actually a real photo. This is a photo that we took last year from a plane. It's an aerial photo. If you don't recognize Upper Arlington, because we took all the houses out. So we do that, and we stick it in with trees. We take out any people, any cars, any carts. But to give you just an idea, so that's Scioto. So on the bottom line, just to give your bearings, that's 33. The road on the left is Lane Avenue. So this is a key chart, and when you hopefully you go to the U.S. Senior Open, when you do, you're actually going to see a map that's essentially going to be this one minus a few of the operational details that we have on there. So we end up using it for our pairings guide in our program, and it's very helpful, but it's helpful to us to start because it's a real picture, it's true to size of our operational plan. So where does everything go? Like a TV compound. TV compounds have to be on site. Well, this is a new piece of land. This is a new course. This is not a large, there's not a lot of acreage. So it's not like the Memorial Tournament where it's like 6.5 miles spread around and they have like 200 acres. So this is a postage stamp. So we cleared out some trees, and on the bottom left by 33 and Lane Avenue, we're gonna have a TV compound. Just to give you an idea what Fox needs for a television compound. They've got 2 to 3 satellite trucks, which are large trucks. They have 13 semis. They have 4 office trailers. They have a 100 by 100 concession tent. They have 100 golf carts, chargers for the golf carts. They have a, we give them basically a small footprint, and they have to fit in it. I mean, it has to be realistic. So we have to figure out where the chalets are going to go. Chalets are the hospitality units. What makes the most sense? We have to get them up and running. We have to actually decide where they're going to go, how high they're going to be, the angles. Make sure they're not too close to the green or fairway. That's good enough for the tour, the agronomist, or the USGA in this case, in their operations plan as well. And then we have to start selling that. So that is one of the first things we look at. But we have to figure out where's our merchandise tents going to be. Make them visible for everyone and make it easy for everyone to get in and out of. Where are our bleachers or grandstands, as the USGA calls them? Where are they going to be, on what holes? How close are they going to be to the greens? How close are we going to allow people? Admissions, what makes the most sense? So in this case with Upper Arlington, for instance, last year, the 2015 US Senior Open, they had 1 admissions. They were at 1 admissions because they did not have I would say a safe walk-up. It was a gorgeous course, but it was in a really, really bad neighborhood. So we have the pleasure of getting some walk-ups. So the bottom part is a bus depot where public's going to park at Ohio State University, and there's going to be busing and drop people off of 33, obviously coordinated with a lot of the police. There is going to be a walk-up admissions off of Lane Avenue. There's going to be a walk-up admissions over by the club, that's Club Road to the right. The City of Upper Arlington's been great to work with their police department, their fire department, their city engineers. They're actually going to close one of the lanes of Lane Avenue all week. It's going to be the lane that's eastbound, adjacent to the course. And they're going to keep, which makes sense if you think about it, but the engineers said they decided they're going to keep 2 lanes still going east, so just 1 lane going to go west. And they're going to keep it like that for the entire week. They get to control the lights, and they have enough police around where they don't think it's going to be a problem. The last thing they want is any kind of traffic as well. All right, I have some photos here. What's that? Oh, yeah, okay. I'll just go through these photos here real quick, just of our guys doing some operations, and then we'll take some Q&A. That's the driving range. We see it in the morning at 5 in the morning. Here's a picture of 2 ops guys at the Greenbrier. This is a trophy presentation. That's the Greenbrier about a week before in 2012. Trees came down. Remember I talked about expect anything? Long hours. Did I mention that we work long hours? It's our marketing director. They found a box apparently. All right, thank you. Yes, absolutely.
A few questions if you have them. I know we ran a little late there, but anybody? Yes, sir.
Is there a pro-am?
For the U.S. Senior Open, there is not. For the Memorial, we have one, but that's all nationwide guests. Yes, sir.
About how many spectators do you expect at Scioto? There's not a whole lot of room there.
We say 80,000 throughout the week. So it's going to kind of bounce up a little bit, but I think we expect about 13 to 16,000 Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then jump up to about 17 to 19,000 for the first 2 rounds, and probably close to 20,000 on the weekend.
Yeah, and to your point, because it's such a small footprint, it'll feel much bigger than that, the crowd will, because it's so small and narrow. Yes, sir.
I participated in the National Amateur in 1968.
Nice.
The guy that I caddied for didn't make the cut. But how much longer is this course going to play than it did in '68?
You know, it's 71.45 for the Senior Open this year. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I don't know what they played at back then. Probably around, TJ, what do you think, 6,900? We have a gentleman here who's going to compete to play in the U.S. Senior Open. Stand up, TJ. He's going to try to qualify to play. He played in it last year. Capable player. We hope he makes it because we'd love to have some local players in it. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Where are the locations for public parking? You're going to bus them in, so where are you going to have them?
Yes. So the public parking is going to be Ohio State. Ohio State has a lot of parking lots. It's going to be the Fred Taylor Drive. So off Ackerman, there's going to be Fred Taylor Drive. We're going to have plenty of signage, and that's going to be the main public parking. We're still looking for volunteers, so good point. So you can, I'm going to be up here. I'm going to have our business cards. I also have some volunteer stuff to hand out to you, or you can do it online, which is 2016 USSeniorOpen.com.
Thank you. Thank you. We really appreciate your time and your expertise, and we would like to just offer you this sign token of our appreciation with a donation to our foundation. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. This is a great meeting. Thank you for everyone. Be a Rotarian all week long.